All right. Hello, everybody at home. We are ready to get started. Let's take a look at what we are doing today. First off, everyone needs to make sure they have completed the using quotes from sources practice assignment. That is what we did yesterday. And if you are at home, I had very few hit the submit button. So right now, I want you to go, and everyone in here as well, I want you to go and open it up. Go ahead and click on that. Make sure you've completed the using quotes from sources practice. Even if you think you submitted it, go ahead and click on that. It will take us to the assignment, and make sure you hit submit my work. Even if you are not finished with it, it is better to turn in something that's partially complete than nothing at all, because nothing at all will automatically get a 0. Okay? I've said this throughout the semester. Okay? Now, if you aren't done with this, especially if you're at home, this is the first thing you're working on at home. Okay? Make sure you get this completed. A lot of you all were getting hung up on finding good sources and everything like that. As long as you're finding a source at this point and pulling out a fact or a statistic or some quote and making a quote phrase with that, it's acceptable. Okay, I just want you practicing with putting together, like, according to the Pew Research organization, so on and so forth. Okay, so make sure you are getting that done. Okay. All right. Speaking to Group A, that is at home, and Group B, you can listen to this because you're going to be doing this on Monday. You're going to complete a WebQuest activity. Is technology killing our friendships? Okay. And that is due today for those at home, and it's due Monday for you all that are here. Okay. So let's look at this WebQuest together. You click on this link, it'll take you to the assignment. Go ahead and open that up. I'll give you guys a second. You can go ahead and do that in class as well, so you have it ready and open. And if you're at home and you can't sign on or something like that, you're able to do so here. Huh? That is incorrect. I'll change the due date. While y'all are opening it up, I'll change the due date. So get this open. Late and you haven't get started. I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button. There you go. So it says due Monday, but if you're at home, you should have this done today, because you will not have time to work on this on Monday. So make sure you have this finished. So let's take a look at it. If you open it up, this is what it looks like. It says iPhone versus iLife, kind of a play on words there. And it says explore the links below in any order you wish. Be sure to record new knowledge. AAAs, AHAs are just kind of like answers to the questions, and what you now wonder in the column on the right. So basically, this information on the left pertains to the responses on the right. So you might have a website, an article, a video, a cartoon, an image, whatever it may be, and you're going to focus on that. Each one of these sections should take, 10 to 15 minutes and should be a class period's worth of work. That's why that's what you're doing at home, okay? The first one is an article, in which you're going to read the article and you're going to kind of pull out, like we've been working on, source information, and you're going to say, where does this information belong? Is it, so this is asking, is technology killing our friendships? Identify evidence from the article to support each side of the debate. Write the information below. So pull information out, and you can directly copy and paste, okay? We are replacing our friends with screens. Like we're losing friendships because we're on computers and phones and video games too much. Or no, technology is actually bringing us closer. So you're looking for evidence in that article, not what you think, evidence from the article. So you can copy and paste from that article evidence that you find, and you should find 3 that are for and 3 that are against that argument. The second part here are media cartoons, okay? So each of these cartoons, you can open them up, and the cartoon will pop up for you. So this one has looks like a starving child, and it says, believe it or not, there are places in the world where getting a new iPhone is not a priority. So you're going to kind of write what the message is next to this. And this message can be, and it's asking right here, what is the message? Explain using information from the cartoon. So, for example, on this one, we might explain that there are parts of the world where they're more concerned with finding food or surviving than they are about getting the new iPhone and making sure you have this technology and things like that. Hey, Skylar, we take that out of your ear for me. Thank you. And there are 3 different cartoons. This one's completely different. This one has a guy standing in front of a judge holding his iPhone, and he says, the judge is saying, no, sir, you may not marry your iPhone. So obviously, what's the message here? They're talking about how we are too in love with our iPhones and we're too obsessed with them and things like that. So just some political cartoons, media cartoons to look at. I'll let you look at the third one on your own. So just a real quick sentence to the side. What's the message? Okay. And then this part, you're going to choose one of the cartoons that you looked at, one of those 3, and complete a cartoon analysis. Okay. This is where you're going to go dig deeper. Okay. So quickly scan the cartoon. What do you notice first? What's the title or caption? If there isn't a title or caption, what would you call it? Okay. What visuals are in the cartoon? So basically, you're going to kind of analyze that cartoon in a deeper way. Okay. In the next section, you're going to watch a short video. This I forgot my phone is a 3-minute video, and it's basically about what does it make you think about, okay? And you answer these questions in reference to the video. And then we have a longer video, and this is the last part. The video is about 15 minutes long, and it's a TED Talk about how technology is impacting our community. And you're going to answer 2 of these 4 questions, okay? After watching the video, answer 2 of these questions. So you don't have to answer all 4. You can if you want, but you only have to answer 2 of those 4 questions, okay? So while you all are at home working on this, we're going to be writing and working on our benchmark essay, okay? I want you all to be here when you're writing, so that's why I'm giving you different things to do at home versus here. This is more of a fun kind of web quest to look at a bunch of different things talking about impacts of technology, okay? Any questions about that? Any questions about that WebQuest activity? I don't know why my volume isn't working here. Hold on. I think that should work. If you have a question, write it into the Google Meet chat. Because if I can't hear you all, I'm pretty sure I can, but if I can't, write it into the Google Meet and I'll look there. All right, so going back to GoGuardian, or not GoGuardian, going back to Echo, that is what you all are doing at home. If you finish that early and you have time, when you finish the WebQuest, you may begin working on your benchmark writing task. That can be found in the No Red Ink. We've looked at that, and you have the hard copy available to you. You'll have time to work on this on Monday while in class, Group A, okay? If you all don't have any questions, you are free to go and work on that. I'll be available in the Google Meet if you have questions. All right. Group B in here. First thing we're going to do is a puzzling source quotes activity. I don't have that completely set up yet, so give me just a minute. Let me go over this, and then we'll do that. Afterwards, we are going to read the prompt for the benchmark writing, and we're going to be looking for evidence to support our writing, and then we're going to begin writing our benchmark assignment, okay? Why is this not showing up? Right. All right. This. Oh, this, yeah. Okay. So, our goal here is to annotate and begin to look for items that we agree with and we disagree with, okay? And we can use these as quotable evidence in our writing, Okay? All right, let me get this figured out. Yeah, I don't know how to have it set up for. There we go. Yes, so that's a good question. So, so we're circling what supports us and underlines what is our counter. Okay? I'm going to star them and then you decide. Okay, so I don't confuse you. All right, let's start reading. So right away, looking at the title, do we think this is for the week or against the week of no tech? The internet teaching young people not to think? Then yeah, this is probably for the week, okay, of no screens. We know right away just from the title, okay? And then we also know this is Julianne Vincent. So I'm going to star this. You all star it as well. This is our author. So if we want to give her credit in our writing, we're going to say, according to Julianne Vincent, who wrote Is the Internet Teaching Young People Not to Think? And then our comma and our quote. Okay? So let's start reading this. Nicholas Carr, the author of The Shallows, What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains, says that we should take some time away from screens because he believes that the internet does not improve our intelligence. According to Carr, deep thinking brain scientists have discovered happens only when our minds are calm and attentive. Okay? So right away, we see that they have their own quote that we could use. So if you agree with the week, you would circle this. If you disagree with the week, you would underline it. Okay? Either way, annotate it. Because they're saying deep thinking, brain scientists have discovered, happens only when the minds are calm and attentive. Okay? And can we be calm and attentive when we have screens up and computers up and video games and all that stuff? Calm and attentive means that you're not distracted and you're calm. You're not being distracted by a bunch of things. Oh yeah. All right, let's keep reading. If you disagree with it, that's fine. So, riding the internet highway. It is difficult to focus while using the internet. On top of all the distracting notifications and advertisements, there are also the tendency to start surfing on websites from one topic to another. So this first part is it's difficult to focus on the internet. Again, if you agree with the week, you're circling that. If you disagree with the week, you're underlining it. It's as if the internet overtakes our thoughts, even when we're not using technology. Matt Richtel wrote an article called Attached to Technology and Paying a Price, describing the toll that technology takes on us. He mentions that most computer users switch between tabs and web pages almost every 2 minutes. So I would just quote this part. Computer users switch between tabs and web pages almost every 2 minutes, okay? You can use that as kind of a direct quote. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Again, if you agree with the week, you're circling that. If you disagree with the week, you're underlining that. Computer users, according to this article attached to Technology and Paying the Price. It mentioned that most computer users switch between tabs and web pages every 2 minutes. I would argue with my computer usage, that's very true. And you can kind of reflect on your own computer usage if you think that you're clicking that often. All right, next. Some might say that sites such as Google have positive effects on their users. While it's true that the internet gives us answers quickly and reliably, It's not something something to get into a habit of doing. Okay, so you could use, it's true that the internet gives us answers quickly and reliably. So you could use that as part of your argument. So if you're for the week, you're underlining that because that kind of goes against your argument. If you are against the week, you could circle that because that kind of helps you, saying, hey, the internet gives us quick answers. It's on the 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph down, second line. It doesn't do much harm to look up some facts every once in a while, but we forget things because we can get the answers so easily. Okay? So this would go into for the week. We forget things because we get answers too easily. Too reliant on the internet. All right, quick on the smartphone draw. In cognitive offloading, how the internet is changing the human brain, Philip Perry discusses issues affecting our memory's capacity brought on by search engines. A test was conducted to compare two groups. One group couldn't use any sort of device to answer questions, and the other group was allowed to use Google. The group that had access to their smartphones immediately went to the internet and didn't even try to answer from memory. The group deprived of devices were quicker overall at answering trivia questions because they didn't reach for their smartphones. So a summarization of this or a paraphrasing of this would be very appropriate. Okay, you wouldn't want to quote that whole section. Okay, so you could paraphrase this by saying, in a study, mentioned in, and insert our source, which is this article. In a study mentioned in our source, people who rely on their cell phones could not answer questions quickly. Okay, so I'll make sure you can see that. Right, but is that what this study? No, it was testing people on just their memory. So they're asking general knowledge questions. People that are able to use their phone answered slowly. Okay, because they were relying on their cell phones. So in a study mentioned in our source, this article, people who rely on their cell phones could not answer questions as quickly as people without their cell phones. You probably go on to say that. People without. Okay? So this is what you should be doing as you're reading these sources. Okay? I'm just really, really trying to scaffold and show you how to focus on it. Okay? But David Price, a guest blogger on a website called Tech Addiction, says that teaching may be getting easier with Google because parents can now use the internet to help with their kids' homework. That goes for against the week, okay? So I would use this quote for against the week, okay? And you might even start here, teaching. Instead of at the David Price, gives credit to the source, and teaching may be getting easier with Google because parents can now use the internet to help their kids' homework. So it's very clear in this class what we're passionate about, okay? Anything that I am pro-weak, you guys want to fight me against. Anything that I'm like, oh, the weak wouldn't be a good idea, you guys are like, oh, I'm going to write that down. That's definitely something I'm using. So it's clear where you all stand. And that's okay. That's good. You know you're passionate. All right. This led me to think about how schools make us memorize facts and equations, even though we have apps to solve problems. Yeah. And you can argue if that's good or bad for you. So why should people have to remember all that when they could turn to Google instead? We have to at least attempt to use our minds for problem solving so we don't forget how to do so. Okay? Imagine if you were deprived of smartphones and you completely forgot how to solve problems on your own. If we always turn to calculators and websites for answers, we'll never learn anything on our own. All right, let's go on to our second passage. And this one is about the same length. All right, so do we think this one is for or against the weak? For the weak. Or no, against the weak. Against the weak. Sorry. Against the weak. So you might even write at the top, against the weak. So this is a good reference for against the weak. And the title itself, The Surprising Positive Power of Texting. It's definitely pro-tech, okay? And who is our source? Who is saying this? Washington Post. So we need to remember that. So you would write, the Washington Post explains in their article, The Surprisingly Positive Power of Texting, that so on and so on and so forth, okay? Or you could just say Washington Post if you already mentioned the article. All right, so let's read this. Texting often gets blamed for reducing people's attention spans. Other days it gets blamed for making people feel more isolated. Texting has also been blamed for damaging the spine, a condition called text neck. Still, some experts say texting can and should be a positive force for people's emotional and physical health as long as it's used correctly. Boom, right there. Some experts say that is a positive force if used correctly. Okay, so if you are against the weak, you are circling that. If you're for the weak, you would underline it. All right, now don't ask that. All right, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. Is that a very good source? One of the most respected institutes that we have in the United States. Yes, very, very respected. Psychologist Sherry Turkle wrote the book Reclaiming Conversation, The Power of Talk in a Digital Age. Texting itself isn't the problem, she says. The trouble is what happens to face-to-face conversation if your phone is always there. Okay? So this would be for the weak. Okay? So if you're for the weak, you're circling that. If you're against it, you're underlining it. Maybe. Texting can improve relationships and communication. Let's keep going. If done well, Turkle and other experts said texting can improve interpersonal relationships. Right there. Texting can improve interpersonal relationships. What does interpersonal relationships mean? Okay, let's break down the word. Personal, interpersonal. So what kind of relationships are these? Are these distant relationships or close relationships? Distant and close. It's your friendships. Okay? So if you want to put interpersonal, you can say friendship. Friendship and family, yeah. It can also help people deal with traumatic events and connect different generations of people. So boom, right after that is another great quote that technology can help people deal with traumatic events and connect different generations of people. So again, you're circling if you disagree with the weak, and you're underlining if you agree. There are... Huh? Yeah, circle it if you disagree with the week. Yeah. Underline if you agree with the week. There are also medical uses included in improved communication with health experts and in medical studies. So another good one. Do not quote this entire paragraph. Pull which one of those quotes are best and most meaningful to you as you write. Huh? And then pick one. Okay? If you quote this entire paragraph, then you will lose credibility in your writing because you're basically just plagiarizing their work. Okay? It all comes down to when and how you text, according to Turkle and Cheeky Davis, who holds an advanced degree in psychology and writes about well-being technology. Both said there's one key rule of texting. Don't do it when you're around other people. Okay, so another good quote here that they suggest, these doctors suggest to not do it when you're around other people. Texting can be good. You just need to not do it around other people. Don't use the phone at the dinner table. If you're out to dinner with friends, keep your phone out of sight, Turkle said. Even leaving the turned off phone visible on the table will make conversations more trivial and will reduce the possibility of empathetic communication, Turkle said. She warned some people use texting to avoid difficult face-to-face interactions. All right, so if you are for the week, you would circle that because it's saying that texting to avoid difficult face-to-face situations is a bad thing. If you are against the week, you would underline that. And if we're seeing a good argument in this article, if you're against the week, is to say 1 week isn't enough. We need to actually train ourselves throughout our lives not to be constantly on our phones. Okay? Huh? Okay. So we need to do it in small cases. You can write about that. Yeah. With this support. Yes.
Right now, essay in the title is "Put the Phone into Smartphone and the Smartphone to You." And I'm talking about how we don't use daily smartphones, but we don't use it for calling and sometimes texting.
So that's kind of your compromise to say this is how we should do this. I'm okay with that. That's good. All right. So it's better to keep from texting even around total strangers, Davis says. She mentioned, all right, listen up. She mentioned that when traveling home from work, people whip out their phones and disappear into their screens, ignoring their fellow passengers on the bus or the subway. A whole body of research shows we can improve your well-being even through just a tiny interaction with strangers. So there's another good quote. Okay? A whole body of research shows we can improve your well-being even through just tiny interactions with strangers. So put down the phone, interacting with strangers. So that would be circle if you are for the week, underline if you're against the week. All right, last paragraph. Reach out to others in need. Okay? Once you're truly alone, go ahead and break out your phone, Kirkland Davis said. But be thoughtful about who and what you text. Think of texting friends and family and consider who might be feeling lonely or dealing with a difficult situation. If you struggle, or if you yourself are struggling, texting a loved one is a great way to handle it. Great one right there. Technology can be a great way to handle life if you're struggling. Okay, so circle if you disagree with the week. Underline if you agree with the week. Wow. Studies have shown that people who text and reach out to others experience less pain, Davis said. It can be used to cope and just kind of deal with challenging situations. Okay? So it's a great way to cope. And what does cope mean? Deal with stuff. It's how you deal with things and how you overcome things. Okay? So that's a circle if you disagree with the week. Underline if you agree. All right, last prompt, and then we're going to turn around and begin our writing.
Can you like make this one last really long?
Why?
I don't know what to do.
Oh, so you don't have to write that. Screen addiction. Study links too much device time to teen unhappiness. So, is this for the week or against the week? For the week. For the week. Okay. So, and who is this? Who's our source? Washington Post. Yep. So Washington Post did 2 of ours. Well, they're arguing both sides here, and 2 different. Okay, let's read. Silicon Valley executives have complained about smartphones and social media that are designed to be addictive, but a new report puts numbers to their warning. The report finds that more hours a day teens spend in front of screens, the less satisfied they are. Boom! Huge stat, huge information here. If you were for the week, you were circling this twice, okay? Because this is a really strong argument for taking a break from your screens, okay? So the more hours a day teens spend in front of their screens, the less satisfied they are, okay? So the less happy they are, the less they look at their own lives and go, things are okay, okay? The more screen time they have. And you can reflect yourself if you think that's true or not. That is for the week, very for the week. Because it wants you to use less screen time because screens are making you less happy. It's a study. The report was published in the journal Emotion. It used information from a national survey of 8th, 10th, and 12th graders done every year by the University of Michigan. So that kind of backs up the fact that it is not fake. The report said that young people's self-esteem, life satisfaction, and happiness have gone down since 2012. The year 2012 was the first year that more than half of Americans owned a smartphone. So another very strong quote for the week. Okay, so you'll circle it if you're for the week, underline if you're against the week. Because they're saying that more and more kids are unhappy. It said it right up there before. They did a survey over the last, done every year for 8th, 10th, and 12th graders. Well-being drops with more screen time, report says. The report also found that adolescents' psychological well-being decreased the more hours a week they spent on screens. We will do. Let's do it here. Adolescents' psychological well-being decreased the more hours a week spent on screens. That includes the following: the internet, social media, texting, gaming, and video chats. The findings are like earlier reports linking frequent screen use and teenage depression and anxiety. No, I would argue it's not the same. I mean, it's very similar, but it's not the same. So there's linking frequent screen use and teenage depression and anxiety. Okay, the study graphed the connection between happiness and screen activities. It also graphed the connection between happiness and non-screen activities such as sports, in-person interaction, and religious services. John Twenge is the study's lead author. Twenge is a psychology professor at San Diego State University. She called the relationship of screen and non-screen activities zero sum. That means if you are doing one, it takes time away from the others, okay? This is another good summarize, okay? And you could write essentially that time on screens takes away from social opportunities. Right. And again, guys, I'm not arguing with you. And I'm glad you're passionate about it. So this means that you want to go in and like really share your thoughts on the subject. And basically, and that's exactly what you should do in your counterclaim paragraph is say, they say this, but that's not true because of this. Right? Good. Okay. We have annotated, oh my goodness, so many quotable things. Do you need to quote all of these? No, obviously not. Obviously not. Okay? So I want everybody to open up their computers. Let's go over to, and I get the irony in what I'm saying. Open up your computers after having all that. Huh? I'm so sorry. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Time on screens takes away from social opportunities.
Okay, I want to share my.
Hold on.
I need the following students to please make their way to the area outside my office. Eli Davis,
Red ink. And you are going to go to, look at the assignments. You're going to go to the district writing benchmark 2, technology impacts on students. The good news is that we have gone through all the prompts and everything. Oh, don't need that. Sorry, I need to preview it. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
did that?
So let's look at this together really quick. Writing an argumentative essay. We looked at this before, so I'm going to go through it kind of fast, but we're just going to look at it. And you can be clicking on your computer because it's going to make you do this, so everybody should be on no ready, clicking through this with me. A strong argument can help you convince others to change their minds or take action on issues you care about. Develop a strong argument. You need to express your opinions clearly and back them up with evidence and reasoning, okay? So we have an argument here. Let's keep going. Oh, it took you straight there? Probably because you've already done it on another one. So I'm going to skip it, and we're going to start writing. Okay, this is what y'all see. That's fine. Okay, so this prompt and these passages we've already looked at. We have spent tons of time working on that. You were working on this bottom right. So the first thing I want you to do is add a title. So we're going to click on the required, and you're going to add a title. Make it simple at first. You can go back and change it later. So your title could be as simple as a week from screens is a good idea, or a week from screen, away from screens is a bad idea. Make it simple, okay? But very clear on what you feel. You usually don't want your title to be a question. I mean, you can. It's fine for now. It's fine for now. But your title should tell your reader what you think, what your answer is.
Wow. Underline. I make my both underline.
Okay. Huh? Right. But it was very clear. Which one? The second one? Oh. Is the internet teaching young people not to think? But does your question make it very clear how you feel? Because this makes it very clear that, oh, okay, this is talking about how it's making people not think. Okay. So now we're working on your introduction, okay? So for your introduction, what is the last line of your introduction? This is one of the most important parts of your introduction. What is your last line of your introduction? It's your answer, but what do we call that last line? Your thesis statement. So it's very important that you write your thesis statement, and it should look something. Hey, listen, it should look something like this, okay? OHS and OIA, and you should put something like should or should not, okay, in the blank. You can't see this marker.
Should or should not, you have to choose, participate in the, what is it called?
No screen week.
No Screen Week.
I couldn't think of it.
Now the last part of that is because blank, comma, and blank. And these are your arguments, or at least a blank and blank. So let's say from what we've read, OHS and OIA should, let's say you say should participate in the No Screen Week because technology makes us more unintelligent, and technology takes away from our interpersonal connections. Okay? Those are two that you put down. Or you can put OHS and OIA should not participate in the No Screen Week because technology helps us connect with people and something else. Okay? Your quotes that you're going to use. Yes.
Can I read my suggestion?
Give everybody just a second to write.
No, I'm not. I just don't think that's
Okay? Now, when you write these, make note that these are your paragraphs. Your first reason is your first paragraph. Your second reason is your second paragraph. And your third reason is your third paragraph. Now, if you only have two, I'm okay with that for now. Okay? So if you have in the, we should or should not participate in the Screen Week because you have two items down here, I'm okay with that for now. If you want to shoot for three, if you want to start with two, that's fine. Okay? William, do you want to read yours so they can hear an example?
Yeah. You know how many people are addicted to smartphones? Not just teens, but adults too. Some people have more attention to their phones than their families. They're not even using their phones for their actual purpose. All they're using them for mobile games and other apps like TikTok and Instagram. It's about time that phones actually became phones again. People should get off games and apps and start using phones for communication.
Okay, so where's your thesis statement that says this?
Oh, no.
Remember, we're writing about should OHS, and that's a great introduction, but you got to finish that introduction with this. Okay? OHS and OIA, you can word it differently, but OHS and OIA should or should not participate. You would say should participate in the No Screen Week because blank and blank. Did anyone write it in this format? I'm going to read yours. I want to read that last line. OHS and OIA should not participate in the No Screen Week because it can help with unsolved problems or questions that they have. Okay, you have three there. They can help with unsolved problems or questions they have screens or phone. They can help with coping mechanisms, and also they help with keeping in contact with others. Okay? If you want to include that, you can. It helps the social distance. That's fine. That could be one of your arguments.
Can I do that one too?
Okay. So we have 24 minutes left in class. Or 23 minutes left in class. Your goal today is to get your introduction and your first paragraph finished. Introduction and your first paragraph finished. Okay? And how passionate you are about those discussions, you can totally do that.
I just can't. I can't think.
Did you write the thesis statement?
Yeah, I can say it in the moment. But I can't think it for the long. But I didn't.
To support this, you're saying that they should not. Why?
Hey guys, quiet. Last sentence of your first paragraph. Hey, all right, so we're going to go into silent mode. Hey, guys, quiet. We're going to go into silent mode so people can concentrate. If you're not talking, Miss Newton or myself, you shouldn't be talking. All right, yes. Now, yep. So go into your feeling and say, most women would be this. And I would list 2 things that are positive about stories. Okay? Yeah, it was a little, yeah, that's a little reality.
No, you can't. You can write those down.
I'm
You
not
can't
sure.
take these others.
So you don't have to.
So I'll put it in.
Those are all kind of the same numbers. You just, you want to get you have every paragraph can get one. So I think it's sincere. But then to say, help people get stuff off their desk or hope. So how is that really disruptive?
Well, and I called some messages. But I believe in you.
Right now, I have folks that support me. So, it's a part of